Okay, so now onto highlighting. There's several tools for highlighting. There's the lasso tool, the selection brush, there's the marquee tools, and then there's even more. If you look at a tool in Photoshop on the toolbar menu to the left, and you see that there's a little teeny tiny triangle that's darkened in the corner, I'll show you in a minute. You right click on that, there's more options. That just means there's more options for that tool. I like to use the selection brush. It's my favorite for highlighting, but depending on what I'm doing, I might use a combination of several different tools. So let's go see what that looks like. So now I gotta pull up Photoshop again. And let's work with this image of the dog. So say we kind of want to work with this image here. Okay, so we got a rectangular marquee tool. I can click and drag and make this any size I want. I can also set the height and width up here if I want to ahead of time. I can click on this selection brush tool and I can change the size of it. I can make the edge of that tool like hard, like cut out, so it'll look like it's cut out with scissors, or I can soften the edge by choosing a softer brush. So when I move something, it'll look a little more blended on the edges. That'll save me time later of having to blend. So I can highlight him this way. I can come in real fast. And then, but if you notice, like I kind of highlighted what I didn't want, because you can kind of see the background in there. So I can change my brush size, make it a little smaller. I said a little smaller, not a lot. Then I can hold the Alt key on my PC, and then that'll kind of undo the selecting. So that kind of makes it easier for me to be a little more accurate. So I can go back and forth, and then I can release that key and highlight again, and just keep going back and forth until I get it just right. So holding Alt and moving my mouse, I can unhighlight areas as well. Another way we can do this, select, deselect, is I can right click on this. Oh wait, where is it? Oh, here's the lasso tool. This you can just, this usually shows up as the default. And like wherever I move my mouse, it'll go. But like if you accidentally like, oops, you know, jerk the mouse or whatever, now it's kind of like, oh man, now I gotta kind of either start over or come back in here with another tool and kind of fix it, right? Which you can do, you know, I mean, you can fix it however you want, or you can deselect and start over. But the magnet lasso is kind of cool because you click to start and then it will choose it'll follow color points. So like, you know, wherever it notices a change in contrast or color, it will snap to that. So you can go a little faster in a way. And you can see right there it messed up. Since my dog and the background are a very similar color, it might have trouble with some of the brown highlighting. But I just keep clicking, because if I go a little bit and then I click to make a new point, because if I don't, and I just keep dragging this around, it won't like pick on the right areas. Like you can see down here, if I go too fast and I just kind of move, well, it did pretty good. Sometimes it'll mess it up. So I kind of have that. Now I can come in with the selection brush and clean that up a little bit. And then I can fix some of these areas if I want to by using the Alt. So I can use a combination of all of these selecting tools. And then let me just fix this up as quickly as I can to show you some things we can do now that we have it highlighted. I can say enhance. I can go to auto contrast and auto fix that up. I can go to lighting. I can go to shadows, highlights, and I can change the shadow. Let's see. Maybe I do want to do that a little bit. Just a little though. Then I can go to enhance, lighting, brightness, contrast, and do this manually. You can do too much and it doesn't look so good. You can do not enough. You kind of want to your whites to be bright and your blacks to be black, and then have a range of grays and textures in between. If you start losing the textures in the white areas, you've gone too far. So that looks pretty good. And then you can beef up the contrast, but again, if you go too much, it'll look kind of phony. But if I do it just right, he'll stand out from the background nicely. Then I can say select the inverse, and maybe I want to make this gray. So do like a little photo effect. So I can go to convert to black and white, and it should convert that to black and white if I want it. That's why highlighting is important, because if I deselect this, you'll see that right here I still have the color of the background, so I'd want to go in and fix that if I was really doing this for real. But I can go to select reselect, pull that up, I can say select inverse again, and now it's on the dog. I can undo. I can go back as many times as I want. Maybe I just want to go to enhance and color and go to saturation, and just maybe I don't want it all the way black and white, but just a little bit grayer so he stands out even more. And maybe I want to put a filter on that to blur the background. I can also blur with a tool. I could come over here with this blur tool, if it'll let me do it. And then I can make my tool big. And then see, what's nice about highlighting is this will blur the background. I think my computer's having trouble because of the recording. It's slowing it down. But I can come here and blur all this, and since I told it to select the inverse and choose the background, it'll only affect the background. It won't affect the dog unless I flip-flop it back again. So like say I have my paintbrush out for whatever reason, I don't know why I'd want to do this, and I have this color picked, I can drag this around and note it's not doing anything to the dog, just the background. So if I undo that and I say select inverse, now it will only affect the dog. So this could be a good way to do a silhouette if you want to. You could just color the person in black or whatever, or the dog, you know, you can make him black if you wanted to. See, and then I could come here and say I want to work with a silhouette for whatever reason. You know, here's different ways I can achieve that. And then I can undo all that. So that's a little bit on using the selection tool. I hope that was helpful. Here's another way you can select and highlight. This is the magic wand. Since I have it set at a tolerance of 50%, then it's going to give me some leeway. So all these little shades of white here, it's selected. If I make that a smaller value, then it'll get a little more picky. If I make it a larger value, then it might include some other things I don't want, like this area or whatever. If I hold down Shift and pick the yellow, I can add the yellow to that too. Or I can come in here with this and make sure everything, all the center is selected as well. And I'm just going to drag this, which I'll show you in a minute. Drag this over here, and now we almost have a nice little birthday card thing going on. But if I click on an area like the yellow, it'll highlight everything yellow. But if I click on this, then it'll stop highlighting that and highlight that. So if I want to, you know, get all the yellows, then if I hold down Shift, it'll get everything yellow for me. Then I can go and say, I can go to Enhance, Color, use Saturation, and say I want to make them a different color in the middle. I can do that pretty easily. And then I can say select, deselect, and now my centers are pink, or whatever, if I wanted to do that. So I can go to select, deselect,